You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Ryan Tejas is here with me, the beloved Ryan Tejas.
Yep, I am here. Beloved.
Did you, you're beloved. I think that
That's
a
nice.
lot of people out there like you.
That's nice.
It is nice. It is nice. I hope you're enjoying your week, guys. I hope you're being good to yourselves. And thanks for listening. If you're tuning in here for Joe Lo Truglio, I hope you tune in and subscribe to the podcast. You can subscribe on YouTube, please, and Apple and wherever else you get your podcasts. The handles to follow us on the, because there's always some fun information that Bryce puts out there or I put out there, and the handles are
At Inside of You Pod on Twitter, at Inside of You Podcast on Instagram and Facebook.
That's correct. That is absolutely correct. We've had some great guests and some really great guests coming up, so I'm really excited. Joe LoTruglio in just a second. Let me just say a few things. I will be at the Motor City Convention, Motor City Con, October 15th with Tom Welling doing a Smallville Nights. Get your tickets now online. Also, we're going to be doing a Smallville Nights together. Also, October 9th, we'll be doing a Stage It, playing a lot of music. So if you go to stageit.com, stageit.com, Rob and I, the band Sunspin, we're going to be playing a lot of jams. It's Rob's birthday, so make sure you tune in. Make sure you tune in. You can also get tickets at sunspin.com along with awesome merch. You can get Inside of You merch at the Inside of You online store. There's Lex Luthor stuff. There's Smallville stuff. There's Inside of You stuff. And last but not least, my lovely patrons, I love you. Thanks for supporting the podcast. A little extra to help the podcast move along. Just go to patreon.com/inside of you. That's Patreon, patreon.com/inside of you. I'll write you a message right after. There's different tiers. There's different things. It's a wonderful community. I really love it. Joe Lo Truglio, fantastic. Just love having him on the podcast. He talks about the final season and shooting Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Really exciting stuff. And he's been in a lot of other stuff. You've probably seen his face in Wet Hot American Summer. What did you love mostly about this?
I just like his energy. What a great he's just a good guy.
He's just a good funny freaking dude, and he's got some great stories, and I'm really excited about his new horror movie that he's directing, and we'll get into all that. So right now, let's just get into it. Let's get inside of Joe Lo Truglio. It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience. Joe, this is a treat. It's just, so watching you pull up.
Thanks for having me again.
I love having you, and you were such a great guest last time. And, I know you've been incredibly busy, dude. Like I just love watching your career because I talked about this a little bit before, but you're always the guy that was like, oh yeah, you had one scene in that, or you had a scene in that, right?
Yeah.
It was just kind of like you were moving and shaking and going. You did the comedy troupe, The State, and you were always, and then all of a sudden, things just took off.
Yeah, that's how these things go. I think we touched on this a little bit last time, is you got to find the right people. You got to surround yourself with good people that are better than you. And then...
Is that what you always do? You surround yourself by better people?
I try to surround myself with people that are, more talented than I, so I can raise the game. I think that's the smart thing to do. There's a mix. Of course, there's a mix, right? You can't always be around people that are better, but I think it's an advantage, and it's a way to improve yourself.
Yeah. Well, we didn't really talk about this, but you grew up in Florida.
I did.
I said Florida.
It's Florida.
You say Florida?
No,
Florida?
I say Florida. I
do say Florida, but sometimes I say Florida. But what was that like? Were you like a popular guy in high school?
No, I wasn't unpopular. I rode the line between being in the drama department, which I was, and captain of the swim team, which is athletics, but it's the swim team. So it's
were the captain of the swim team.
Yeah, but
you're a swimmer.
I'm a swimmer. I was a backstroker, but because I was involved in a, I'm using air quotes, a sport. It is a sport. It's a sport I love. But in the high school vernacular, in the high school world, swimming isn't, put on the pedestal.
Did you shave your body?
I nared it.
You nared it.
I nared it.
Doesn't nair burn the skin?
It does.
I tried it with some of my back hair once, and
it wasn't
that didn't go
the
well.
Best thing. But I nared it. Yeah.
Is that for the aerodynamics? Is that
It's a hydrodynamics, I guess. It didn't work. It didn't take off any time.
Well,
really.
what's funny is I swear to God, I didn't start puberty till late, like junior year in high school. I had no hair under my arms. So when we played basketball, because I grew up in Indiana and I didn't play basketball much, but when we did like pickup games,
Yeah.
I'd always feared that I was going to be not the shirts. I was going to be the skins.
Oh, okay.
And then one time, this guy, Mike Curry, who had armpit hair probably in 4th grade, just Harry and the
Wow.
Hendersons down there. I remember he looked at me and goes, Rosenbaum, you don't have any hair under your arms. Dude, are you serious? You're in high school. And everybody looked at me and I go,
Oh, no.
oh, I'm a swimmer.
Oh, see, that's what I mean. Immediately it goes to, you didn't mean it in a derogatory way.
I lied.
But you lied.
I lied.
And swimmers aren't looked upon as very valiant athletes in high school.
But they're hairless. I got away with it.
You got away with it.
I was on my feet. I kind of picked that up, said I'm a swimmer.
Yep.
I don't have hair, and people bought into it. So
You did it. You got by.
I did. I got by. But you were.
So I was liked. I was not an unpopular kid, but people, I was a bit of a weirdo. I was into the Mad Magazine and horror movies, and I was a strange, lovely, weird kid, but was able to get along with most. So, and I was funny. That was the other thing. So that helped.
And your parents were cool.
They were very cool.
They liked what you were doing. They accepted everything. Didn't they think
did.
you were weird that you were watching horror movies?
No. They were always very supportive. Still are. Yeah. Yeah. They were down with it. I remember asking my mom, there's something weird with me. I like blood too much. She's like, no, there's nothing weird. You just, which is to say, when I was watching horror movies, I loved all the gore effects. And I thought that was weird that I was just obsessed with that. And I would, and I'm like, Mom, is there something wrong? She's like, no, relax.
What is it though? What is it about you and me, that we...
Just you and I.
Is that an Eddie Rabbit?
That's...
Just you and I.
Now I'm playing. Peaches and Herb, I think.
No.
No?
I think they sang Reunited.
Seals and Croft, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Let's not...
But with the horror movies, what was it? What is it about horror movies that we... Since we're a kid, we want to be scared. For me, it's the adrenaline. It's like going on a roller coaster. And when there's a good horror movie, which there aren't good horror movies out there, there aren't very many. Yeah. I get an adrenaline. I get scared. I like getting scared. And that to me is fun. Is that what it was to you?
Yeah, it was that. I think there was this element of you're not supposed to watch this. Don't watch this. Don't do it. It'll scare you. That's, that'll give you nightmares.
Right.
I think that was part of it. And also, you're a kid, you want to see some action and creatures and things that don't exist and get scared. I guess, I don't know. I'm literally armchair experting this.
Are you?
Topic.
Are you? Because now you fast forward to all this stuff and you finally get to do, we'll talk about Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the final season. We'll talk about some other stuff, but you get to direct a horror movie. This has got to talk about this. Is this a dream of yours to always direct this movie? It's called Outpost, and you were talking about this briefly last time.
It's a hard place to start. To give context here, I'm just a week back from finishing this project that has been with me 3 years, but has really been with me, 37 years since I was 13 trying to make a horror movie. So, there's much relief that this thing is out. It's out of me. I've got this, this goal to have finally done a horror movie and directed it, and is kind of out of my system. And I feel lighter and more relaxed because, I accomplished something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. So there's that element of achievement there. And then the movie itself and the experience of shooting the movie is a whole other chapter of joy and bonding with the people that made it. And there's a lot of emotions mixed up in just having shot this movie on a mountain, which is a very hard thing to do. And when you do something like that, after hearing so many people say no, and then you do it, you kind of feel pretty badass. You kind of feel like, well,
I beat the odds.
Beyond that, I beat the odds. Like I beat the odds, but like I said what I was going to do, and you didn't think I was going to do it. And so there's a little bit of a
ego.
Yes, there's a little bit of an ego, a little bit of a chip that, you know, I have to reel in, but it's hard because you just want to kind of show people that it can be done, you know, if you find the right people to do it with, and you really want to do it. It was just, I was watching a documentary about this financier he was doing like Roger Corman movies, or I'm going to mess up the quote, but the quote was something like, movies don't get made because you make them. They get made because you have a boner to make them, or something like that. It's like it was.
You have such a hard on that I have to do something.
Yeah. I messed up the quote, but it's something like that.
I like your quote. It's a good quote.
But it's like, you know, that's the only way a movie's going to get done. It amazes me that any movie is made at any budget. Like the amount of factors that can derail a production is endless. It's just endless. And anytime, you know, one gets made, even if it sucks, I'm like, wow, man, good for them.
They made the movie.
They made the movie.
And you don't really understand that until you make a movie. Till you
Correct.
direct a movie, and then you have a respect for every director who went out there and directed a movie.
Not just every director, but every person that makes a movie. Yeah. So whether that's from the set PA to the UPM to your second AD, and you know, I was lucky enough to finance the movie partly. And once
you paid your own money.
Yeah.
They always say don't do that.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? They also say, like, just keep trying. Eventually you'll get the money. And then guess what happens? And then years go by and you don't get the money. And you're like, oh.
I did the same thing.
I wish I would have done it. Yeah.
I put money in.
By the way, who's going to bet on you if not yourself?
Yeah.
Always bet on yourself, man.
Right.
Like, no one else is going to do it. No one else will do it. So to me, it wasn't a waste of money, because even if the movie sucks, even if it doesn't make a dime, even if I was terrible at it, I would have been like, you know what? I've been trying to figure out whether or not I could do this and whether I liked it all my life. And now I did it, and I spent a lot of money, but now I know that A, I don't want to do it anymore, or B, I suck at it, or C, or whatever. And that's priceless. So I got that info. So to me, I was a no-brainer. That's an easy bet to put down, because that money is going to pay off in one way or the other, either in your being able to sleep at night, or before you're dead, you can be like, all right, I did that years ago. That's just smart payment.
You don't want to be 75 years old and say, why didn't I do that? Why was I scared? Why did I do?
Yeah.
Why was it fear-based? Why didn't I
didn't
just
do
put
it because
some money in there?
Because everyone said, don't put your money in. And then I croak. I'm like, oh, because they said, don't put your money in.
How much money did you put in?
I can't say.
I can't disclose.
I can't disclose.
But is it a $1 million movie?
It's under $1 million movie.
Under $1 million movie.
Yeah,
and how many days did you shoot this movie?
We had a 16-day shoot. It was an 89-page script. We averaged between 6 and 8 pages a day. We were, it was a 16-day shoot, but we were on the mountain for 7 days, and it was an hour up to the top and an hour down. So we really lost 2 hours every day.
Did you realize that before you started in prep? Yeah. And you're like, holy shit. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we did our due diligence there. But, you know, just to brag a little bit more and boast, is because we lost 2 hours for 7 days, that's 14 hours we lost. So we really shot the movie in 15 days.
Absolutely. Just go with that.
I just want to, yeah.
You did.
Yeah. I mean, it was a work day. I don't know. I'm still so proud of everyone that did the movie. So I can't, you know, my DP is a friend of mine. His name's Frank Barrera, and I've known him since I was 17. And he does a number of movies from budgets like this to larger ones. And we've been wanting to do a movie for a long time. And he was with it from the get-go, and we worked, you know, a year and a half on shot lists. And when we're on the plane back from Spokane, we're just kind of shaking our heads saying, how did we pull that off? Because we were very lucky. There were no injuries on a mountain that was 6,300 feet
Well, not
up.
only that, but about the weather?
And there were no weather events. There were no equipment failures.
Wow.
There were no ego problems on set. There were no, thankfully, no COVID outbreaks. There were nothing. And
Boy, are you lucky.
We were. We really were. I mean, you know.
But you would have figured it out.
Of course.
You would have figured it out if those problems did exist.
You know what filmmaking is?
What is it?
Solving problems.
Yeah.
It's problem solving.
It is. Something you have to have a boner for, as I recall.
That's
a quote.
right. It's problem solving. And also someone else, I think one of my producers said this also, is like, it's problem solving, but also throwing a party. You got to throw a party and you got to problem solve. And you got to make sure it's a safe party. Because you got to make sure everyone's having a good time.
Got to be a good host.
You got to be a
People
good
gotta like
host.
the host.
People got to like the host. So it's somewhere in between that.
Inside of You is brought to you by Chirp Wheel. Chirp, guys, I've talked to you about this a million times, but I have Chirp Wheels. I have had back surgeries and neck surgeries, and Chirp Wheel, I use it every day. No lie. This is a wonderful product. I don't know how many times I've said Chirp Wheel, and someone goes, I got one of those. They're awesome. They are amazing. The Chirp Wheel is where it's at. Ryan caught me chirping last week in the living room. Chirp is a brand dedicated to helping the world feel good so they can do more of the stuff they love. In other words, Chirp is all about feel good, do more. And to do this, Chirp creates simple, innovative, and effective pain relief prevention solutions. Chirp started with a revolutionary wheel for back pain, but they're just getting started. What I love about Chirp Wheel is they have this divot in the middle, and it fits your spine snug, comfortably, and it's unlike any other wheel you've ever had, any other wheel to roll your back out. This is an exceptional piece of machinery, or a piece of what, Ryan? Innovation. Hardware. Chirp is all about helping people feel good and do more. Back pain prevents millions of us from feeling our best. When they don't feel their best, they're limited at what they can do, what we can all do. Chirp can help fix that. With Chirp's patent-pending spinal canal and 3 different pressure options to choose from, Chirp will help your back feel better so you can be back to doing what you love in no time. Key features that make this product stand out are 3 different pressure sizes: gentle, medium, and deep. And I encourage you to get all 3 wheels, because the more you stretch on the smaller one, you'll be ready for the middle one, and so on. It has a spinal canal to comfort your spine, as our wheels give your back a unique 4-way stretch. Each wheel can hold up to 500 pounds. They can be nestled together for easy travel to take wherever you go. Chirp is the real deal, guys. It's the real deal. Give it a shot if you have any kind of back pain or you just want to loosen up. Chirp Wheel's the way to go. And here's all you have to do. You visit GoChirp.com and enter the promo code INSIDE to get 10% off site-wide. That's GoChirp, GoChirp.com, and enter the promo code INSIDE to get 10% off site-wide. Inside of You is brought to you by Bright Cellars. Oh, these guys are fantastic. What a delicious wine that they manufacture. And I have them in my fridge right now, cooling off. So after this podcast, I could just get a nice glass of refreshing wine. Today's episode, as I told you, is sponsored by Bright Cellars. If you have ever been overwhelmed in the wine aisle and bought a random wine you end up hating, you're not alone. Finding the perfect wine match can be intimidating, but it does not have to be. That's where Bright Cellars comes. Bright Cellars uses a wine algorithm to match you with wines that you're guaranteed to love. All you have to do is take their 30-second quiz, which I took, and they match you with wines based on things you know you like your favorite type of chocolate or your favorite type of juice. It's that easy. They've really been pretty incredible and innovative, smart to figure out what people like. Because you go to an aisle in the grocery store and you get a bottle of wine. These guys break it down. What things do you like? And then they know, okay, he wants a sweeter wine. Oh, he wants something like this. It's pretty amazing. Brian, why don't you tell us some more stuff?
Each wine also comes with an education card that includes information on that region the wine is from, tasting notes, food pairings, and serving temperatures.
You can always switch up the amount of reds, whites, and rosés if you're a seasonal wine drinker, and you can skip an order whenever you want.
Plus, being a Bright Cellars member means you get access to their premium wine portfolio before the wines hit the market.
Yeah, even if you're not a regular wine drinker, this could be the perfect gift for that special wine lover in your life.
And the best part is that if you do not like a bottle of wine, Bright Cellars offers a delight guarantee that will send you a replacement bottle in your next order.
For a limited time, Inside of You listeners get 50, did you hear me? Inside of You listeners get 50% off their first 6-bottle box by going to brightsellers.com/inside. It's basically 6 bottles of wine for the price of 3. To get 50% off your first box, head to brightsellers.com. That's brightcellars.com/inside. Bright Cellars, helping you discover wine you will love. Inside of You is brought to you by Geico. Guys, don't go anywhere. You know Geico. You love Geico. They've been around for a while. Everybody uses Geico for the love of God. But if you rent or own your home, look, when I go to the grocery store, I don't go to the grocery store. I have someone deliver my food. I've talked to you about this. It's convenience. And Geico makes your life so much easier because they have what's called bundling policies. Your auto insurance, your renter's insurance, or homeowners, and you could bundle it together, pay for everything at once. It's so simple. Even a Rosenbaum can do it. And here's all you have to do for this bundling policy. They give you the best rates. They really do. Geico knows what to do. Go to geico.com. You get a quote, and you see how much you can save. It's really Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com. Did you run into any problems where you went to bed at night and thought, what am I doing? I can't do this. Wow, that was a terrible day. Or, wow, I'm in over my head. I thought I could do this.
A lot of that happened leading up to it and the week before. And even
Sleepless nights?
Oh, sleepless nights. Sleepless nights.
Sleepless nights. Sleepless nights.
Oh, there's so many sleepless nights.
So many.
Yeah, but once I was in it and started shooting, there wasn't time to get upset about anything for too long or upset about anything at all because
you never lost your cool.
No, I didn't lose my cool. I don't think. I mean, you'd have to ask, my lovely wife and lead Beth Topher. And
so the wife was a lead.
She was.
Oh,
incredible.
Now come on, that had a whole thing because I know that you worked with her in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and you, I believe, you directed an episode that she was in.
No, I didn't direct the one she was in. She was in an episode. We've acted together before in the Wet Hot American Summer series on Netflix, and we worked very, very well together. Very well. We hadn't acted in. We didn't do the actor-director thing yet, but we thought we had a pretty good shot at that because of the type of people we are. Beth is an incredible actor and doesn't require a lot of hand holding.
That's good. She doesn't need to be told how great she is all the time.
Well, I think every actor, including myself,
needs that. How was I? Am I giving you what you want? Yes, yeah. It's fine. Yeah,
I think we're all there, including me. No, but it was helpful because I had a conversation with all the actors, all of whom were friends of mine, except for one, Otto Sando, who was incredible in this movie. And his vibe was incredible and got along with everyone great. And but the rest of the cast I knew well. And we had a conversation about what kind of production this was going to be, which was one that ran very fast. And because of the logistics of the production, we wouldn't really have time for a lot of takes. And so they knew that we were going to move pretty fast.
Know your shit, hit your mark, know your lines.
Which they all did. And I said, look, we're in a tight space. A lot of the movie takes place in this fire tower. It's a 12-foot by 12-foot space. There's enough room for me and the DP, who's also the operator, Frank, and the actor and like a sound person.
How many cameras?
Well, we used one camera, Mini Alexa. However, when you rent a camera, they give you another body just as a backup. And so then we bought extra accessories to make sure at bare minimum that could work. We couldn't pull focus on it, but so on heavier days, we had 2 cameras. But in addition to that, we were shooting second unit while we're shooting our first unit. So,
and you're trusting the other guys to do your second unit.
Yes, because we had to. And also the other guys were, our second unit team was my unit production manager, Jay Smith. He was out of Portland, and he also was a first AD and second AD on other movies. And so I'm sorry, second unit director on other movies. So he became like a point guy. But our main guy was this great camera operator out of Spokane named Deshaun Bedford. And he would be running B camera on the days we would run 2 cameras. And then on the other days, he would go out with a different camera, either the Mini Lexa if we weren't using that, or the Black Magic 4K, and he would do other second unit stuff.
Right.
We had a Panasonic GH5. Now I'm really kind of listing this is the nerdy stuff.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
all the equipment stuff.
Stuff you're learning along the way.
We had a lot
Right.
of cameras because we didn't want to miss anything. We didn't have a
Is
lot of
it
time.
is it a scary movie? Is it psychological? Is it paranoid? It's got to be. Is it bloody?
Yeah, there's gore in there. I think it's a pretty scary movie. We'll see. I mean, there were it's about a woman who experienced this violent assault, and she goes to a lookout tower to try to get her life back in order, get some peace of mind and isolation. But the PTSD and the isolation does not give her the the self recovery that she was hoping for, and it kind of spins her out. So. The movie's a lot about seeing things that aren't there, and what's real, what's not, and mainly what happens when you don't get help for a traumatic event that you can't handle on your own to recover from.
BetterHelp online therapy. That's exactly what you
Brought
do.
to you by
Better. I'm telling you, they're one of our sponsors. But that's true.
terrific.
When you don't get therapy, when you don't work your demons
Correct.
out,
Yeah.
these things happen.
Yeah.
And that's what happens to her in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it goes over a lot of mental illness in this movie for sure.
Did you deal with mental illness as a child, or have family members that dealt with it?
No, I mean, I have levels of like OCD and but nothing that I didn't suffer from depression or anything.
You've
like
never
that.
suffered from any kind of depression, really?
I've been depressed for sure, of
but
course.
situational
and
depression.
Yeah,
Sort of
yeah.
like-
I was never too anxious. I feel I'm more anxious now that I'm older than I
Yeah.
remember being as a kid.
What is that? Why does this happen?
I think because you just have more to lose. I mean, the stakes are higher.
Why?
I think you know more about the world and how terrible it can be. how many awful things are in it and how many incredible things are in it too. But, you're just like, man, a lot of the randomness I think can bring anxiety to people.
That's true.
You know.
But that's what happens. It seems like the older I get, the more anxious I get, the more I care. And I'm like, why do you care so much? When you were younger, you didn't care so much. You weren't
Yeah.
stressed as much.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
kind of filled your days with fun and work and just went with the flow.
Yeah, well, it was easier to be in the moment then, right?
Do you, when you're working with your wife, and we'll move on here, but when you're working with your wife, is there any times where she's like, Joe, I get it, or you have those moments? And do you talk about these moments before they happen? Like, look, we're working close together. I'm directing you. I'm going to say things. You're going to get mad at me. I want more. And I'm your husband, and this is going to be odd. Yeah.
We did talk about it, and we got through it. There was only one episode. It was totally my fault, and I didn't lose my cool, but it was in the first maybe it was day 3. And we were at the end of the day, and it was completely unprofessional on my part, but I'm going to come clean because this is what this podcast is about. We're getting inside of me.
Come clean, please.
I'm going to come clean. And, it was,
and by the way, I'll tell you if it was your fault.
No, it definitely was my fault. It was, and as she asked, as any actor would do, she's like, what's my action here? What am I supposed to be doing exactly? And I thought it was kind of obvious what she was supposed to be doing. And I was also, it was a long day. I was a little stressed. And I said, your action is, we have 15 minutes to get this shot. And then it's the end of the day. And I was very mortified and ashamed. And she's like, okay. And then she did the action, and it wasn't right because I didn't tell her what to do. And we had to kind of reset this kind of big thing. It was totally my fault. And she was so annoyed, had every right to be with me. But I effed up for sure in that moment. But I will say that really was the only moment like that throughout the whole show where because I learned the lesson. I'm like,
right, you learned your lesson early.
I learned it early, and and it was during the big climactic scene at the end, and there was certain pacing of action that I needed, and I just wasn't clear. And anyway, so that was the lesson learned. And other than that, we were spot on, fantastic. I love working with her, and it was great because I wrote the role with her in mind, and I knew that she had all the levels to play it. And then watching her do it, I'm like, man, there's still more there that I didn't even see. She was terrific in it.
How many years ago did you write this script?
I broke the story.
Broke the story
in the spring of 2018, in like March of 2018.
Oh, so this happened pretty quickly. Within 3 years, you make a movie. That's rare.
It's rare, and you know what? I was, to show you how like out of touch with reality I was like, I'm gonna write it in March, and then this summer I'm gonna shoot it, like the summer of 2018, like an idiot. Like I'm an impatient person by nature.
I want to do it now. We got to do it now.
I've always that's been my burden, the cross that have to.
And you have a child, Eli, and you can't be. You have
Correct.
to learn patience, don't you? When you have a child,
I'm telling you, this is going to be his great lesson to me. Is I have to learn it now, and that's always been a stick in the mud for me. And I learned it on this project for sure. Even though, as you say, 3 years is no time from conception to end of production
fast.
To get something done.
Dodgeball took 12 years to make. No one would buy it. No one would make it.
Is that right?
Something like 12 years. Did you hear that, Ryan?
No, I never heard that.
Yeah, something like 12 years. So
That's
even
amazing.
the funny movies, the hit movies, they take a long time to make. And like you said, you got to have a boner for it. You have to say, I'm making this fucking movie.
Yeah.
I'm making it. And you made it.
I made it.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks, man.
It's
I
such an
appreciate it.
achievement. Nobody can take that away from you. That you went and made a movie.
I had a lot of, I really did have a lot of support, and a lot of friends like yourself and others that that have been like, you're going to do it, dude. You'll get it done. And it was nice to hear that.
Did your other friends, like the guys from the state who have been your friends since New York University back in the day, who then you went on to do Wet Hot American Summer and tons of Stella shorts and tons of, did they ever get jealous that, oh, he's the one who got the hit show on Brooklyn Nine-Nine-Nine?
I don't know.
Oh, he's the one who's going to direct a movie. Where's our roles? We gave him these roles in Wet Hot. What do you mean you don't know?
Because I don't think so. They're all doing incredibly well.
I know.
It's not like, they're doing, they're all so amazingly talented. Again, this gets back to like surrounding yourself with people that are better. Look, jealousy is something we've all, that's a green-eyed monster.
It is.
We've all dealt with that.
Yeah, we have. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I mean, how many seasons is this now?
On August 12th, the 8th season will be premiering on NBC. And I'm really excited, and it's strange coming out of something as personal as Outpost, the horror movie, into this other incredibly impactful and ginormous part of my life that's changed my life. Brooklyn Nine-Nine finally coming to its 8th season. Like, this season has been in the making for like almost 2 years, and it's got so many things have happened in the world. Our writers have had to rewrite this season at least 3 times.
Wow. Based on just COVID and Black Lives Matter and all these important
things. Based on
things.
COVID and George Floyd,
Right.
and then some other stuff happened and so it was just an endless, that's their commitment to getting it right and making it funny is just so impressive to me. I get back to patience. I wouldn't have the patience for it. I'm like, oh, enough. Just NBC, just take these. We did this a year ago.
Well, they love the show that much that they rewrote the entire season.
They really did.
How many episodes?
We did 10 episodes.
And you're done.
This is it, unfortunately, until, whatever reunion happens, which I'm sure it will at some point. But
how emotional is that for you on your last day of shooting?
Do you remember that day?
Very vividly. Yeah, very vividly. It was, all day is filled. You get to the lot, and all day it's just filled with anticipation. Everyone knows that it's going to end today. And so all the scenes that you're doing, there's kind of like, you're trying to be present, but it's really about like, soon the final scene's coming up. The final scene is coming up. The final thing, it's going to come up. And so, it was truly great to have everyone there and feel that out. And then that scene comes, and I can't give any of it away, but I'll say that it was very difficult for the eyes not to stay wet during the scene, because the scene is very close to what was happening in real life, and there was just this palpable like pulsating in the room. So during the shot, there's like this moment during the scene. There's this moment, and we're all making eye contact, and it's truly. Oh, I get emotional thinking about it. It was so intense, and then it ends, and the where it really sank in is like before the take started. Our one of our crew members.
I could also tell you like the emotion on you that you're just. I could see you.
Oh,
how you're going back.
I'm
there.
going back in it.
You're trying to resist. Let it go.
Our AC Chris. Hits the clapstick, and you hear our director Claire Scanlon directed the last one, and she's like, it's like, Phil, widen out, to get like the wide, shot, and Chris he's like 99 forever, slaps the stick, and
99 forever. Is that the only time he said that?
That's the only time that was said. Yeah, 99 forever, and on a clapstick on the slate. And everyone's like, here we go. And so, we run it for a long time. We don't really cut a lot. We're just like rolling and rolling and rolling. So we knew this is it. Like before you hear cut, that's what you would hear. That's how they would do it.
Right.
And I should blow your ears out. Sorry. That we knew this was going to be it. So anyway, that happens. We do hear cut. There's this big exhale and roar and clap and applause and hugs, but quick hugs because it's COVID. Quick hugs with 6 foot long arms.
Right.
And we all go outside, because there's going to be a nice. There's a podium out there, and everyone is 6 feet apart and listening to our DP Rick Page and our creator Dan Gore, and just say a few words. And then the thing I was most not prepared for was when they wrap you out as an actor, and they're just going up the call sheet, and they're like, Joel McKinnon Miller, that's a series wrap on Joel McKinnon Miller, and everyone's just like, oh no. And I was just not. I couldn't keep it together. Once it got to me,
you were gone.
I lost it. I was just like, you hear your name, said for the last time on a show that has brought so much, wealth and joy. Wealth, I say that financially and emotionally and spiritually to your life, that and that you're so grateful. You're just filled with this gratitude, and you can't believe it's over. And you're going to still be in touch with everyone, but it'll be different, we're not going to see each other every day. And all of that heaviness, all that truth is just coming down. It's just raining on you. You're like, you're just trying to.
So you really lost
it.
You're crying. You're like really crying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Were there anyone who it was Sandberg emotional?
Everyone was emotional.
There wasn't one person who was kind of stoic.
Everyone
who was happy that it was fucking over.
Maybe Andre Brower.
He was like, yes.
No. Everyone in their own way. Like you could read their eyes. Like it wasn't all tears, but by body language or just their look or how. I mean, everyone you felt knew the magnitude of the end. And what was really nice is that, after that happened, a few of us put our masks back on, and we went into the bullpen for the last time, and we went out on the kind of rooftop, the fake rooftop out there, and just reminisced a little bit in a quieter area. It wasn't everyone. It was just the cast and a couple of the writers. And we just talked about, favorite episodes and memories. And it was a beautiful end. And we finally left around 10 p.m. where we knew that you walked off the set And then that was it. The pneumatic drills were going to be heard in the morning. Everything was coming
Taking
down.
it apart.
Taking it apart. It was all going to go down. You're looking at it for the last time. And you're just like, wow, this place is forever in my head. And I hope that all the moments that I had over the past 8 years are in a secure place up in the noggin that I can remember, because this is it. All this tangible stuff that goes away tomorrow morning. That's it. And it was intense, man.
Did you cry to your wife?
Oh my God. I came home and I literally collapsed into Beth's arms and literally sobbed, just got it. I was like, it was out. Yeah, man. It felt great.
Inside of You is brought to you by BetterHelp. Boy, this company has helped so many people. It's helped me. It's helped Ryan here. If you don't know about BetterHelp, just listen up. If you're dealing with any kind of depression, anxiety, work overload, you got a lot on your mind, you just need to get it out. Ryan, we've talked about this. You're still doing BetterHelp.
Still doing BetterHelp.
Still helping you.
Still
you
helping.
seem like in better spirit. I'm not just saying that, but you can tell.
BetterHelp helps you get better.
It really does. It really does. And I like these guys. They've stuck with me because I think it's working. I think people are listening. And, I notice a lot of my patrons, they'll respond like, hey, BetterHelp's really cool. Thanks for introducing me to it. And it's just one of those sponsors it's not even a hard sell. It's like, it's so easy to do you want to feel better about yourself? Do you want to fix things that you don't like about yourself? BetterHelp is there. If you're feeling depressed or struggling with uncertainty or having difficulty sleeping, BetterHelp offers experienced therapists who can listen and they can help. And you can start communicating in 48 hours or less. There's a broad range of expertise available, which may not be locally available in many areas. The service is available for clients worldwide. You can log into your account anytime, send a message to your counselor, and you'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, so you won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room as with traditional therapy. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they'll make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. If you have did you have to change a counselor?
I did, but that was only because he left the service.
Oh, he left the service.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. You meet somebody, a lot of times you're like, I'm not comfortable with this person, right? It's so easy. You just change. They'll help you change immediately. And this is common. This happens. You might meet the therapist of your life,
Of your dreams.
but you'll find the right one. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available, and that's for damn sure. So many people have been using BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. Don't even take my word for it. Just do it. Take Ryan's word for it if you want, because we really believe in this place, BetterHelp Online Therapy. And here's all you have to do. It's pretty easy. Inside of You is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy, and our listeners get 10% off their first month of online therapy at betterhelp.com/inside. That's betterhelp.com/inside. Get matched with a BetterHelp therapist and get started. Inside of You is brought to you by M1 Finance, the finance super app. This all-in-one app makes it easy as pie to invest, borrow, and spend exactly how you want. Build a portfolio of stocks or ETFs in minutes with their intuitive Pies interface, or use a pre-built expert pie that invests according to your goals. Investing involves risks, and M1 helps you invest according to your risk tolerance. Borrow against your portfolio with some of the lowest rates on the market, then use it however you want. Keep in mind, borrowing increases your risk and rates may vary. Or stash your cash in their free digital checking account. It's fast, it's easy, and it saves you tons of time, and time is money. Switch to a sleeker, easier, and better way to manage your money. Plus, get a $30 bonus to your M1 Invest account when you get approved, and fund it with $1,000 within your first 14 days. It's easy. Just go to m1finance.com/insideofyou for more info. That's finance.com. Terms and conditions apply. What I mean, when you rewind and you go back to the first day on set 8 years ago, Do you ever? I mean, because no one ever thinks this is going to last 8 seasons. You're
No
on it. You're like, I'm
way.
lucky to be here.
No,
I'm gonna
yeah.
We think as actors we're going to be fired tomorrow.
Right.
This is
Right.
it. They're going to see the dailies. They're going to say
they're going to find out the truth.
they're going to find out the truth. We always do that. I mean, so you had no thought of like there's something special here. When did it click that this is special?
You know, how do I put this? Because I no one knew it was going to go 8 years. I'll say that I knew, you know, from having been part of other great collaborations where the cast clicked, that I knew it was going to be fun and I knew it was going to be good. That I knew. So I knew that. I didn't know if it would be good with the audience, if people would like it, but I knew it would be something we'd like. We being the cast and friends of mine that are like-minded. I don't think it became something special really until we got canceled and picked up. I mean, I feel like that's when, for me, the kind of...
When was that, season 6?
That was after season 5.
After season 5.
After season 5. So once that happened, I felt that the show took on kind of a mythical new chapter of this phoenix that was raised from the ash. And that became the story of Brooklyn Nine-Nine because, you know, we were all over the news and, you know, more people were suddenly in tune and aware of this show than they had ever been when it was on the air. And so that's, for me, I think when you saw the power of the people that watched the show, of the fans, of how important it was to them, and how 5 years of what we were trying to do, which was not like, this is how it should be. It was more like, wouldn't it be great if it was like this, the, you know, police force, you know? And that's always been the approach that resonated with a lot of other people that, whether, I don't think anyone really believed it could be that, but they believed in the desire for it to be like that. And I think that was very powerful for a lot of people.
Wow. I mean, when a show's canceled, I've never been on a show that was even reconsidered. Like, you know, you get canceled.
Didn't Smallville get canceled?
Never got canceled. Never got canceled.
Okay.
So, I mean, if something gets canceled 99.9% of the time, it's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
that's
sometimes
right.
they go, oh, well, let's shop it around other networks. It never happens. Name 3 shows that it's done.
Yeah.
It's happened. You just can't really do that.
Did it happen with Scrubs?
Did it happen with Scrubs?
Yeah, Scrubs went to ABC after. But that was after like 8. That was after like 8 or 9 seasons. It was like the tail end of it.
Right.
I think it happened with Happy Endings, right?
I can't remember Happy Endings.
But Happy Endings didn't last that many
It
seasons,
didn't,
so.
but I thought that might have jumped too.
But to be canceled in the 5th
but
season.
to your point, yes, not often. It doesn't really.
Were you like, this is done? You never thought in a million years this is going to get picked up again?
Oh yeah, I was I was moving on, and not celebrating is not the right word, but I was kind of with friends and, you know, raising a glass to what great things that the show had brought, and to be grateful, and everything ends, and, you know, and then suddenly it was alive.
Well, I know how you think because I think that way. But when the show's over now after 8 seasons and it's about to premiere, of course you're thinking about your next job now, right?
Well, yes, although, you know, I knew that this year was going to be completely committed to Outpost, that I didn't really think too much about what's next because the movie was so important to me, but also I don't know, I was just hoping that, and still do, that, you know, I got a pretty good foot in the door now, I would think, after a show like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and part of me was worried that, like, hey man, you're gonna lose your heat. Hey man, you got to jump from one thing to another. You got to lose your heat, and then I kicked that voice out of my head pretty quickly. But I honestly don't know what my next job is.
Are you doing a Reno 911?
Oh man, you want to hear something really sad?
Yeah.
I know you don't want to hear something sad. They're starting shooting today. And
you just couldn't be there.
I couldn't be there because I jump into my edit tomorrow.
I thought you were going to say because of the podcast. No. You really ruined the whole fucking thing, man.
Rosie, you really blew it.
I'm doing your podcast.
Tom, Ben, Carrie.
But you're working on the movie, so you have a certain, like, when you're done with the movie, you have like a couple of weeks of editing and sound.
Weeks, like a month, like.
Right, so you couldn't do it. And they wanted you to do it.
Of course, and I wanted to do it. They were so spectacular, and here's the connection there. So our DP, my DP, Frank Barrera, also is shooting Reno. So Frank went, to Idaho and did Outpost with me on this mountain, this crazy shoot, rested for a week. We just got back a week ago, and now he's jumping in to do Reno.
How do they do that?
Talk about a hero. Talk about
How do they
MVP.
have the strength to do that?
Well, he's incredible. He's just truly... he's just great, and he's going to crush it on Reno too. And he had shot the last season of Reno as well, when the one that I was on, the season 8, I think, or maybe season 7, whatever the last one was. But they're doing a movie now, and I miss those guys so much, and the whole gang. I mean, I had such a blast when we did the show on the now defunct Quibi. But now,
Quibi.
but those, I think those episodes are now being redone to premiere on somewhere else.
Do you want to jump on another series? Would you rather continue doing movies? What is it? Do you want to do it all?
Here's what I'd like to do, Rosie. I'd love to do a show for a few months a year and make a little bit of money, and then just finance my movies. Because what was really nice is being able to hire who you want and
Being in charge, in a way.
In charge, yeah.
You like being in control because in a lot of ways, your whole life, not to say you haven't had control, but the studio is
Yeah.
hanging over me.
Yeah, the money people.
Yeah, they're the money people. Oh, you want me to do this movie? You're the boss. I'm just
That's
the
right.
guy who's coming on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, it's always like that, but this...
And that's okay. I mean, that's
Yeah,
I
right.
like doing that too sometimes, but like at least for this first movie, I'm like, if it's going to be my first, maybe only one, who knows how it's going to turn out, I got to fail my own way. Like if it's going to not work, I got to make sure it's because of me and not because someone else was, making creative decisions that I disagreed with.
Right.
And so that was a big plus, but it was also nice just to get to understand low budget filmmaking. And like you see behind the curtain, you peek under every rock, you understand every dynamic, every person that has to be hired to make this movie.
And how one person can bring the whole ship down if they're bad or if they're not doing their job.
I mean, we were
Oh,
lucky.
that.
It was just me and 2 other people financing this movie. So it was nice, 3 human beings, not this like.
All right, so $350,000 each you spent on this movie. No, I'm not going to go there.
But it was nice to have, a smaller investment group.
Sure.
As well. Anyway, I mean, I learned a lot on this movie.
Well, let me ask you this. You're not going to dictate, based on the outcome of this movie. Let's say Outpost, hopefully it's a smash hit. It's great. It gets received well. But you're not going to make a decision on directing again and doing another movie if the movie just doesn't do well and you don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think, I think I'm going to, I loved doing
You
this
loved
movie.
it.
I loved it. So I definitely want to do it again. And we're just going to see whether I really will. The only way I'm going to do it again is if I do pay for it, because no one's going to give me any money. Or whether it's different, where they're like, hey, that was great. Yeah, well, hope you finance this movie. I had a great time, man. And I want to work with those people again, as well as old friends that I have worked with for a long time. It was a very rewarding experience. And I can't wait.
What a year. I mean,
Crazy
it's
year.
the last season. You go through this emotional wave of emotion through Brooklyn 999. You direct your first feature that you've been wanting to do, that's your passion. You've loved horror movies since a kid. You direct this movie. Now you're going into post. I mean, probably the biggest year of your life. In a lot of ways.
In many ways, yeah. Yeah. Well, it was going to be I knew it was going to be a pretty big year with the ending of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Outpost finally happening for sure.
What was your look? Ryan was a big fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
How many episodes
cool.
did you watch?
All of them.
You've seen
You
every
did?
one of them.
Yeah, I've seen
What's
all
your
of them.
favorite one?
I don't know, but I can remember like the specific bit that got me into it was when you dropped the muffin.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
one of the funniest things I'd seen that year. It was
Thanks,
just, it was
man.
just like a really like funny like just the way you said, I don't know, it's like something about the way you said muffin.
My muffin in my head. My
yeah.
muffin. Yeah.
He slams his head into a counter. It's great.
Thanks, man. Someone sent me a video of their like 4-year-old child. It might have been David Miner or maybe his granddaughter. I can't remember. Anyway, I digress. But this toddler was imitating that moment, and it was the most adorable. And she wasn't really doing it. She was just kind of like, there was a pillow, and she'd do her pillow and be like, my head, my muffin, my head, my muffin. She would just go back and forth, and it was the most adorable thing.
It was just really well done. I was just really happy to see it. Yeah.
This is called Shit Talking with Joe.
I'm terrible at this.
This is great. These are just from fans, my patrons, my level patrons.
Oh, nice.
Who, if you want to join Patreon, patreon.com/inside of you. But they have questions.
Okay.
Emily asks, what was your favorite episode to film in Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
You know, that's very hard. There's 153 of them.
Right, but
you have to remember that most of them I've forgotten.
Okay, so those weren't the ones.
No, I'll say, yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, Emily. There was a lot. Well, this season, I can't talk about this season. There's a bunch this season that I'm really excited about. That's not helpful.
Some of your
either.
favorite stuff.
Some of my, honestly, like there's some great, very fun episodes in this upcoming season.
When was it, did you think that they're like, not to say you weren't funny, but Joe LoTruglio, we got to give him more and more. When did you see that start to happen?
Oh, wow. I mean,
was it from the bat, or do you think they really started building your character more as the seasons went on?
I tell you, as soon as I saw that I was not number one on the call sheet, I had an issue, and it was an uphill battle from that point. Saying, "Listen, man, number 6 needs some bits. Number 6 needs some bits."
That does happen. That does happen.
You know, and so that's when they knew, like, oh boy,
we're in for it.
We're in fire.
Steph A, who will you? This is a tough question. I don't think you'll answer it honestly. To be honest with you.
Who's the funniest? No,
who will you miss most from Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I can't answer.
Can you name the top 2?
I can. No, I can't. No, I cannot.
But you do have someone in your head that you will miss the most in your mind that you won't say.
I have like, as soon as one comes into my head, another 3 like pop, and I'm like, oh man. You know, and it's
not a fair question.
It's a hard.
I could tell you who I missed the most when I left my show.
Yeah, who?
I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah, it's hard, right?
It is hard.
Yeah.
No, I think I miss my makeup artist.
Oh, that's
Natalie.
nice to say.
She was like my mother. I saw. I was with her hours, putting the makeup on and all this stuff, and like the head stuff.
Yeah.
And I just remember like I'm gonna miss her. I'm gonna miss her the most because I spent the most time with her, and she knew my whole life. She was like she was really family. Yeah, but cast members, that's difficult.
We all got so tight. I mean, we really did. I mean, there's some that I will see more than others because, like Terry's very busy. Andre's on the, East Coast. But Andy and Steph and Melissa and Chelsea, I feel like I'll see those guys.
Leanne P, she knows that you're directing a horror movie. As a horror film, psychological thriller movie fan herself, she was wondering what some of your favorite horror films were.
That's a great question. Well, I'll lead with The Brood, David Cronenberg.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
Wow.
And I love all his stuff. But
how about the movie to your right that we just talked about? Underrated movie.
Oh, well, Return of the Living Dead. I love that movie too. And I love the humor in that movie. You got a lot in here, Rosie, that I love. The Thing is up there for sure.
Oh, The Thing.
The Outpost was. There's a few movies that influenced that. Repulsion was one of them. The Shining, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 78.
Look at you going deep.
Amityville Horror, 79. A lot of zooms in that one.
Yeah,
and that house.
I miss those old zooms. Did you do some of that in yours?
They're coming back in Outpost. Yeah,
thank God. I love those things. I love the whole, the pans and the tilts and the zooms and
we got all of them. We got all the. We got the T's, we got the P's, we got the Z's, baby.
They did it a lot in the old 70s and 80s.
They took their time with it.
The Chief wants to know the funniest shenanigan off-camera moment on the set of Superbad. Do you remember anything really funny happening on Superbad? I mean, you were there a bit.
I was there a bit, man. Gosh,
it's been a while.
I know it's been a while. Like we had a lot of. I just remember it was very chill, that set. That's where I met Bill Hader for the first time. And
what a genius he is.
He is.
When he does that impression from Dateline, Keith Morrison.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it just kills me.
He's great. I met really all those guys there. I had known the director Greg Mottola. We had traveled in the same circles when we lived in New York in the mid '90s. I remember that I was super nervous because there was going to be a lot of improv in the scene where I hit Jonah Hill with the car. That whole scene is just like, I don't know, maybe it was like maybe a half a page or maybe a page of dialogue. And there was just, Judd wanted to keep us going and Greg wanted to keep us going. And, I was just motor mouth because that was a lot of just nerves. Luckily, it came out funny. That was fun to do. I mean, that scene was great.
What about when it doesn't come out funny? Does the director say, hey, yeah, get rid of all that stuff?
No, I think they just know. The director would be like, well, I'll cut that. But, I think directors probably shouldn't be like, that wasn't funny. Don't do that.
Or that didn't work. I mean, people say, hey, let's try something different. Let's try something different.
That's what you say. Like you say, like, all right, great, we got that. And then you say,
look at the big director over here.
You say,
we got that. That was great.
That was great.
Great jobs. You're a liar.
Nice.
You're a lying director.
No, we did get that though.
We did get it.
I remember I watched a guy that I knew years ago. There was a guy that I traveled in the same circle with. He was a friend, but not a friend, but kind of a friend enough where I had to not lie to him. And he went up and did stand up, and it was just horrendous. It was a failure, and he was tone deaf. He didn't really get it. Like he didn't. And he comes off, and he's pretty happy. He's like, yeah, man, what do you think? And I just took a beat and went like, man, you really went for it, with a big smile. And he did, and that's what I did. And he's like, yeah. And that's
a positive way to approach it. Because some actors, if you approach them with like, that's your energy's completely wrong. Everything's, and some directors don't give a fuck. They'll say that. I did
this really, here's a funny story, to my dear friend Ken Marino.
He's going to be on the podcast.
Oh, great.
Ken's
well,
great.
you have to ask him about this.
Okay.
So he gets this pilot. This is like in 96, 97. And, we'd done the state, but no one really knows who we got this pilot. And I went to go watch it like live. It was like, I think Mark Ruffalo was in it too. It was like the great cast. And I was in the audience and I cannot believe I did this. And just know when I did this, know that it really was coming from a place of like trying to give notes. So he's on the soundstage. I am, in the bleachers that they have in the soundstage. You've been there, but for those that don't know, they bring a bunch of people in and you watch this live taping. It's a 3-camera show. And, they do a scene and then they're like, cut. And then they kind of move stuff around in between takes. The actors, if they want, could go up to the bleachers and, talk to their friends or parents. So Ken looks over after a take and he kind of does like, shrugs his shoulder and looks at me like how'd I do? Like, hands out, like, what do you think? And I go, and I tilt I give like with my hand, like an okay, I'm trying to describe for the listeners, like an okay with the hand, not an okay sign, like what would you call it? Like you're tilting the hand up, like this. But then I go, then I turn, like I'm turning a knob.
Down.
No, turn it up. So I turn the volume, like signal turning the volume dial and then giving a thumbs up, like turn it up. Basically, it was okay. Turn it up. His face was like, what? Like he was not ready to kind of hear, nothing other than like, great, man, all good.
Was he mad?
He wasn't mad. I think he was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know. It was really like, of course he was terrific, but I just wanted, I guess 1997 Joe wanted more at the time out of Ken Marino for that take. I guess he could have given a little bit more,
Could you imagine? That is hilarious.
Can you imagine your friend, you invite your friend for support and you're like, listen, come on. And you're like, hey, turn it up a bit. Oh, come on.
You can do
Come
better.
on, you can do
better than that. Bigger. Bigger's
you,
better.
You have to ask him about
Yeah,
it.
remind me of that. Oh my
that's,
God, what a treat.
so-
And I love you, man. Sebastian wants to know the part you played, was it specifically written for you? The high-pitched voice still kills him today.
Thanks, Ryan. No, it wasn't. It wasn't
Sebastian.
Sebastian.
What did you say?
I said Ryan.
Oh, that's
Who's
Ryan.
sitting next to me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sebastian.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Alan. Anyway, no, it was not written for me. That was just a choice that John Hamburg had for the character.
How many choices do you think you make on average that you improvise something and it gets in?
I would say per scene, I probably make about 89 choices per scene, and I'll the first 40 are within the first few lines, and then the rest you'll get about 20. When I'm not talking, I'll make 20 choices with my face that you wouldn't be able to tell, but I'm making them, and then the last part is where the choices really come into play.
Really?
I close with about 3 choices at one time.
Do you ever, while you're on set, whether it's Brooklyn Nine-Nine or whatever, do something and you're like, I was not great in that scene?
Yes, often.
And then move on.
Yeah. I'll a couple times I've done like, well, we didn't get that, but we're gonna move on, and I'm not that proud of that. And it was because I had only made 50 choices that time and not the 89.
Do you say that out loud? Like, do you ever mention that, or you just move on? You ever like comment on? You're like, well, we're gonna move on, but I wasn't good.
Yeah.
So
people they'll move on to like the kind of break room set, and I'll still be in the bullpen being like, well, didn't get that one, guys. Swung and missed on that one, guys. Like, Joe, come on in. We got to do a quick blocking rehearsal. Yep, didn't get it.
Still thinking about the other scene.
Still thinking about the other scene.
I've done that before. I have nightmares about a scene. They're like, why did I do it like that? Why didn't I have more confidence? Why didn't I?
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like that? Like all of a sudden your confidence level for one scene's down, then it was up on another?
Yeah, often. Usually after lunch, my confidence is down.
You're tired. You had too much Parmesan.
Yeah. I just got up from a nap. I'm like, oh, man, where's my espresso?
Well, this is a treat. Listen, I love having you on. I'm glad you came on. I'm so excited to see. I'm a big horror movie man.
Yeah,
so if you ever want to screen it in the basement here,
oh my God.
If you ever want to if I can come to a screening, I'd love to.
Absolutely,
whatever you need from me.
Thank you, man. I'd love to come back and talk about it more once we're done.
I would love that. I cannot wait to see it.
Thanks, man.
I mean, people don't realize what it takes to make a movie, and a low budget movie under $1 million, and you're shooting up in the mountains, and you make your dreams come true. And I love seeing you make your dreams come true.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Ryan, you got anything you want to say to Joe?
No, thanks. Just for being around.
Thanks, man. Ryan,
I enjoy watching you and stuff. It's always a real treat.
Well, Sebastian, it was nice sitting next to you.
Oh yeah, thanks,
It was.
I love you, man. Thanks for allowing me to be inside of you.
Thanks, man.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
There you go. Wonderful man. I wish him the best in all his endeavors. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the final season. Make sure you watch it. Tune in. Thanks for staying here with us. Thanks for tuning in every week. As Ryan said, the handles are at Inside of You Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and at Inside of You, at Inside of You Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and at Inside of You Pod on the Twitter. You can join Patreon if you want to help the podcast in other ways. My lovely Patreons really give back in more ways than one. Patreon.com/Inside of You. Stageit.com. You can see my band Sunspin play. It's Rob, my guitarist's birthday, my partner in crime. And you could also go to sunspin.com and get tickets if that's easier. But before we let you go here today, and I thank you sincerely for tuning in. And again, if you like the podcast, please subscribe. It helps the podcast so much. There's so many other podcasts, but if you're liking this one, if you enjoyed my candid conversations, Ryan, what would you say? How would you urge people to listen?
Just like what? Just where to go?
No, why would you listen to this fucking podcast?
Because you have some good conversations, some deeper conversations that sort of go beyond just acting or show business. It it starts there, but it always, because that's some interesting stuff. That's the juicy stuff. But then you get into some real talks, and they can offer you some insight on how people live. It might help you.
Yes, it helps me. and I'm sure it helps a lot of other people out there. So thanks for that. Let's read the top tier patrons. These are patrons who give back. They're in the top tier. They give back a lot to the podcast, and I'm going to read their names off. That's one of the perks. They get to hear their names read off. Here we go. Nancy D, Leah S, Trisha, Sarah V, Little Lisa, Yukiko, Jill E, Brian H, Mama, Lauren G, Nico P, Jeffrey W. I'm sorry, it's Jerry W, not Jeffrey. Robert L, Jason W, or is that Robert I?
Robert I.
Jason W, Apothian, Kristen K, Amelia O, Allison L, Raj
C,
Joshua D, Emily S, CJP, Samantha M, Jennifer N, Stacy L, Jen S, Jamal F, Janelle B, Carrie B, Tabitha 272, not to be confused with
Tabitha 273,
Kimberly E, Mike E, Eldon Supremo, 99 more, Ramira, Santiago M, Sarah F, Chad W, Leanne P, Janine R, Maya P, Maddie S, Shannon D, Belinda N, Kevin V, James R, Chris H, Dave H, Spider-Man Chase, Sheila G, Brad D, Ray H, Tabitha T, Lillian A, Michelle.
Okay.
Nice. Way to jump in there. Michael S, Talia M, Betsy D, Claire M, Laura L, Chad L, Rochelle, Nathan E, Marion, Meg K, Janelle P, Trav L, Dan N, Lorraine G, Carrie H, Veronica K, Big Stevie W. Kendall T, Angel M, Rhiannon C, Corey K, Super Sam, Coleman G, Deb Nexon, Michelle A, Liz L, Liz I guess, Jeremy C, Andy T, Cody R, Sebastian K, Gavinator, Ann H, David C, Ellie M, John B, Brandy D, Yavor R, Camille S, Bano, The C, Joey M, Willie F, Christina E, and Adelaide N. Welcome newcomers, welcome all new patrons, and I love you to all the patrons out there who support the podcast in so many different ways. You mean the world to me. Big shout out to my editor, Jason. You're doing a fantastic job. Big shout out to Ryan here, my engineer, my main man, my side man in crime.
The side man
in crime. And Big Bryce. Thank you, Cumulus, for supporting the podcast. And everyone that listens, be good to yourselves. Thank you for allowing me to be inside each and every one of you today. From the Hollywood Hills in California, I'm Michael Rosenbaum.
Brian Taylor's from Hollywood, California.
A little wave, Ryan. And we'll see you next time. We'll see you on the flip side. Enjoy your week. Be good to yourselves.